Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. We're going to give it a couple more minutes, but in the meantime, if any of you would like to drop in the chat box where you're joining us from and what your major is, then we could start to get to know some of the other participants on the call. And it looks like we're just over 100 right now. So hopefully there's going to be some more students. So I'll give you guys a couple of minutes to drop in where you're joining us from, as well as what your major is. Great, we've got a lot of students joining from all over California. It looks like if you're just joining us, go ahead and drop where you're joining from and what your major is in the chat box. Wonder if we have anybody that's not in California at the moment. Got quite a few Davis people, exciting. Got a lot of Sacramento, Bay Area people. Wonderful. Wow, we just hit over 200 students. Great. Wonderful. If you're just joining, feel free to drop in the chat box where you're joining us from, as well as what your major is. We'll give it maybe just one more minute to have a couple of other students join us before we get started with the presentation. Central Valley, Northern California, Southern California. Got a really great mix of majors too. Feel free to keep dropping those in the chat if you haven't already. All right, we'll give it just one more minute. Almost at 400 students. That's really, oh, we're at 400 now, exciting. So feel free to drop in the chat box where you're joining from and what your major is. Oh, we have an undeclared student. Oh, a couple of them. Looks like almost all California folks here. Great. Now from Davis, wonderful. There are quite a few students that are joining from Davis, wonderful. All right, so I think we'll go ahead and we'll get started. It seems like most of you are very familiar, I'm sure, with Zoom from your orientation weeks, but we'll continue to use the chat function throughout the webinar so that you're able to interact, share your thoughts and experiences. But I would like to request that if you do have questions, which we will have time towards the end of the webinar, to use that Q&A box. That will allow us not only to track all of them, but also in order for us to check which ones and organize the ones that we have answered. Oh, we have somebody from DC, exciting. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. So thank you all so much for joining today. My name is Ashley Arvanites, and I am a study abroad program coordinator and advisor at the UC Davis Global Learning Hub. I had the opportunity to participate in a number of formative global learning experiences, including a faculty-led study abroad program that involved an archaeological dig in southwestern Peru after my sophomore year at UC San Diego. And after I graduated, I actually moved to Thailand and taught English. And so these types of experiences are very near and dear to my heart. And I'm really excited to be providing you an overview today of the global learning opportunities that are available to you. So as we go through and talk about the different options that are available, I want you to think about where your interests are, what your goals are, and what steps are you going to take to make the most out of your time at UC Davis, and how you're going to be able to incorporate global learning before you graduate. So a quick overview of what we're going to cover today. We're going to talk about what is the Global Learning Hub? Why is global learning important? We're going to explore a few global learning opportunities that are specifically for, or might be specifically interesting to CBS students. We're going to be talking about finances and funding. And finally, we'll have some time for question and answers at the end. All right, so the first thing is, what is the Global Learning Hub? So UC Davis recognizes that our world is becoming more and more interconnected, and that includes our job market and every industry across the globe. And so we're committed to preparing the change makers and problem solvers of tomorrow. So the Global Learning Hub is an office on campus that wants to see every student have some kind of global or international experience before they graduate. So these are opportunities that might be available on campus, in the region, internationally, and across the country or across the globe. And so these type of opportunities can look anything like study abroad. They can involve global internships and research, community engagement, as well as global skills and leadership development. So for some of you, you might be interested or heard about studying or interning abroad. Others of you, you might be interested in becoming a mentor for international students. These are still ways that you can have these global and multicultural learning opportunities. So global learning is going to look unique for all students, and it can take you anywhere. As I mentioned, it could be something done locally, it could be remote, virtually in the region, right, domestically across the country, or anywhere around the globe. So for our first interactive question, I want you to think about, what is the importance of global learning for CBS students? What are some possible applications? So I'm going to give you all a couple of minutes if you want to add something into the chat box, and I'm going to go and read through some of those. So why is global learning important for the leaders of tomorrow? Great. One student said we need to know what's really happening around the world. We can appreciate what we have, different kinds of experience and worldviews, different perspectives. Wonderful, right? Experiencing a lot of different cultures, understanding how perspectives and experiences shape one's worldviews. Wonderful, right? One person mentioned specifically research, the importance of global research and learning from others. Recognizing the diversity of our world. Wonderful. You guys are taking all my talking points away already. So some of the things here we want to think about is we want to foster those global connections, right? Grow your global network, make those connections in your industry, outside of your industry, right? Cross-disciplinary, engage with diverse perspectives, right? Research is an excellent example of ways that highlight the importance of having those diverse perspectives. Right, cultivating those intercultural skills that are necessary for a global workforce, right? The healthcare industry, if we have anybody out there who is a pre-health student, it's really important because you're going to be working with diverse populations with different ethnic, religious, and then geographical backgrounds of the people that you're working with. Wonderful. And then the final point here is talking about global action and how it's really important for you to have a more well-rounded perspective in order to be able to solve these huge global challenges, things like inequality and climate change. And we're going to need globally minded leaders for the future. All right, so first, before we kick it off, I'm going to go into a couple of different ways that CBS Aggies are engaging globally. So here's a couple of options here, or a couple of ideas to sort of get you excited. In the first picture on the top left is going to be a student who is participating in an animal and vet science internship program in Thailand. Below that, in the bottom left, is a group of students on Bull Island outside of Dublin for one of the Intro Bio Biz2B labs. So they're doing that in the field, on site, in a much smaller setting. The picture in the center is a group of students during some clinical rotations as part of a quarter abroad Latinx health internship program in Mexico. On the top right, there's students who are participating in a EAP program in Australia that's focused on terrestrial ecology. And at the bottom right, there's a group of students who have completed the Global Leadership Certificate programs here on campus. So as you can see, global learning takes a lot of shapes and a lot of forms. It's gonna look really different for everyone. Is there anyone out there, have you heard of any other study abroad programs that you know of that you're interested in? If you have heard of any, go ahead and drop those into the chat box. If you wanna share some programs that you already know about that you're thinking you might wanna participate in for global learning. Great, somebody UCDC, semester at sea, wonderful. Pediatric internships in Africa, life sciences in Japan, wonderful. I'm so impressed. You know about so many of these programs. Microbio in Thailand, vet program in Costa Rica and Australia, wonderful. So as you can see, there's a lot of options out there, and the earlier you start planning, the more opportunities that you're gonna have to take full advantage of the variety of options that are available to you. All right, so let's do a quick intro to the abroad program. So there's two main families of programs that most UC Davis program students who go abroad participate on. The first of those program types is our UC Davis programs. And those are programs that are offered straight out of the Global Learning Hub. They're offered for quarter length as well as during the summer. Some of the advantages to these particular programs is that they are UC Davis classes straight out of the UC Davis catalog, so you know exactly what you're gonna get credit for. And they're led by UC Davis faculty members, and they're in diverse locations all across the globe. So we have over 55 programs in over 30 different countries. Another great benefit to these UC Davis programs is that financial aid does travel with you when you do go abroad. So we have programs where you can fulfill major, minor, GE requirements. You can do language courses as well as internships. We even have some virtual options available through the UC Davis Global Learning Hub. The other main family of program that the students go abroad on is the University of California system-wide programs, and that's UC EAP. So that's the UC Education Abroad program, and that's available to students at all UCs. So through these programs, you can do year-long programs, semester, quarter-long, as well as summer programs. Some of the benefits to UC EAP is that there are over 350 different program options with over 100 partner universities that are well-renowned. They're some of the top universities around the world. So you're gonna be earning UC credit. They have internships options, research options, academic courses that you can take, as well as some research too. So I call these main families because students can participate in both of these programs. Once you've explored these programs that are available to you, if you haven't found something that's right for you, there's also an advisor that looks at independent programs. So there is something for everyone. But some of the benefits of these particular programs is that you know you're going to get UC credit and financial aid travels with you. So here are some very specific programs that I thought the CBS students might be interested in, not only our first year students, but our incoming transfer students. So the Summer Physics program is a program that is offered in 13 different locations in Europe, Asia, and Australia, and you can complete an entire year of physics, right? That's either the Physics 7 or the Physics 9 series in just 8 weeks. So this is a super, super popular program that's offered through UC EAP that a lot of students in a variety of colleges and majors will take. Another one that I mentioned already is the BioSci 2B. So that's your intro bio class, and that one's offered in Dublin. So here on campus, this course usually has about 400 to 500 students. You could go and take it in Ireland in 5 weeks with only 40 of your classmates. So it's a really different setting, a very intimate setting where you get to know faculty members, and you have the opportunity to really build that strong foundation for your intro bio class. We are offering a new history of cancer course, and that one's going to take place in the beautiful coastal town of San Sebastian in Spain. And that's a summer abroad program. And again, you're going to be earning 8 units in 4 weeks. And then that's that molecular and cellular biology 23 course. So for my transfer students, we do have some tropical biology and conservation program in Costa Rica. That's a really popular UC EAP program that's available in the fall or spring. And you can enroll up to 21 units, which also helps transfer students reach those graduation requirements, as well as almost get ahead in terms of the units that you're able to take during your time. And finally, the last program I wanted to mention is a new microbiology program in Brussels in Belgium. And this is a UC Davis summer abroad program. And that is the Micro 102 and 198. Again, a much smaller course, very intimate. You're going to be doing hands-on learning. You're going to be traveling to different countries as well to see really the history of microbiology and the application of it in the future. All right, so as Basque students, you do have an amazing resource in the Basque, right? So they're your advisors specifically for the College of Biological Sciences, and they have set up an entire website specifically to support students who are interested in studying abroad. And so some of the resources they put together are major academic plans. So those are sample four-year plans where you can see different ways you can incorporate some study abroad programs. They have degree requirement worksheets where courses that you can take abroad have been highlighted for you, so you can recognize those right off the bat. We have lists of pre-approved UC EAP courses, so you can see what the equivalent at Hong Kong University is at UC Davis, because another student has already taken the course and found out what that equivalent course is. And so there's a number of other resources, including details on scholarships and funding and some student profiles. So you can see previous CBS students who have gone abroad and learned what their experience is like, what kind of programs they went on, etc. All right, so the next sort of pillar of global learning or opportunity that you have is the global internships and research. So these are offered through the Global Learning Hub and provide the opportunity to apply global learning concepts through experiences and help you gain those hands-on skills to add to your resume, your LinkedIn, and to mention and talk about in a job interview. So there are research and internship positions that allow you to work with faculty members at top institutions. For example, there is a 12-month mentored research fellowship that is looking at studying diseases in developing countries. So there's a ton of different opportunities for you to gain hands-on experience, whether it be in research or in the job field or in a career that you're considering. I've also gone ahead and highlighted some sample summer internship programs here that CBS students might be interested in. We do have a huge portfolio of our global health internship programs, and those have opportunities in Latin America, in Asia, and Africa, and even here domestically in the US. Another program that we have for internships is an animal and vet science program, and we have 3 different locations. We have one in Chiang Mai, Thailand, we have one in Australia, and then we also have one in Belize. And finally, as I mentioned, we do have some virtual options. We're going to be offering a comparative global health virtual internship as well. So for community engagement, so the community engaged global learning programs, you're going to have the opportunity to develop skills working with communities, whether that be in person or remotely, and you're going to gain a better understanding of the context, histories, and complexities of the local issues that are also seen on a global scale. So one example of a specific organization that you might want to get involved in is the Knights Landing One Health Clinic. And so this clinic aims to provide linguistically competent and culturally sensitive healthcare services to the rurally underserved in the Knights Landing area. So that's not all too far from Davis. So that's one specific opportunity of community engagement that you could do at a regional level. Right, this gives you a great way to learn how to build those partnerships, apply things that you're learning, see the firsthand applications of everything you're doing in your courses, and looking at the larger global issues and addressing those from a perspective of mutual understanding and to build those communication skills. So for our final pillar here is the global skills and leadership. And so these are opportunities to help you develop your academic and professional skills that are going to support you in your career after UC Davis, and also provide an opportunity while you're on campus to connect with like-minded students. So the first example I have here is our Global Ambassador Mentorship Program. And so this allows undergraduate students, both domestic and international students, to mentor first year and transfer international students. So this program begins with an intercultural leadership course, and then there's additional workshops throughout your time as a mentor. So if you're interested in this, recruitment for this particular program usually takes place during spring quarter. So if you're interested in joining later this year to support students for the next academic year, keep an eye out for things in the spring. We also have a number of other workshops and seminars and certificate series. They're both academic and focused on postgraduate success, not only for international students, but also helping you to develop global perspectives in leadership. There's also, our website includes a number of different leadership events and competitions that you could engage in, whether it be individually or with the team as well. And finally, a very, very important aspect of global learning and studying abroad here. So that's our scholarships, funding, and finances, right? So financial aid is available for studying and interning abroad programs. So if you are financial aid eligible, you want to make sure that you are meeting with a financial aid advisor, bring them those costs of the programs you want to participate in. They're going to look not only at the program fees, but the overall cost of participating in it. And your fees are going to be adjusted based on the overall cost of participating in the program when compared to living in Davis. We do also have a number of different scholarships that are available not only for study abroad, but for other global learning opportunities, including research, interning, and that wide range of global leadership and community engagement. Some ones I do want to point out are our Blum grants, and so those are development aid grants available, as well as our Benjamin A. Gilman scholarships. And those are for students who are studying or interning abroad that are Pell eligible. So if you receive a Pell grant, that can include up to $5,000 for studying and interning abroad. We do also have a really amazing scholarship search tool. And so this search tool allows you not only to filter by the type of opportunities you're interested in, but also your degree level, your subject area. And so you can see all the different options that are available for you as well, and filter it based on what your individual needs are. One thing I do want to mention about funding is to make sure that you start that scholarship research early and the application process early. A lot of times the scholarship deadlines are going to fall before the program application deadlines are. So you want to make sure you're doing that really far in advance. So take some time early on to research the eligibility requirements and deadlines while you're exploring what options you're interested in. We also offer some award writing workshops that can help you learn about how to write award-winning essays to increase your chances of getting some of those scholarships or grants that are available to you as well. And we have some specific info sessions on scholarships like the Gilman, so you can learn a little bit more about the process and understand ways to increase your chances of receiving those awards. And finally, as I mentioned, meet with a financial aid advisor to see what your financial aid package will look like. All right, so some of our next steps. I know this is a lot of information, but hopefully there were a couple things here that got you really excited and that you want to learn more. Take some time to think about what your interests are and what your goals. Do you want to earn academic credit? Do you want to gain work experience? Do you want to engage with the community remotely? Do you want to do research? What is that going to look like for you? What are you hoping to do? So take some time to think about that and consider what your goals might be. Right? We have a section on our website where you can search different programs. And again, you can use those filters of what type of program are you interested in? When do you want to go? Where do you want to go? What subject areas or specific country you're interested? So you can narrow it down and learn about the different programs and get more information before making a final decision. We also encourage you to connect with our Global Learning Hub advisors. So we have advisors that are available, program advisors, peer advisors, as well as specific UC EAP advisors and independent study advisors as well. So we have a lot of resources, people that are there to help you through this process, because we know sometimes the hardest part can be figuring out what you want to do, where you want to go, what kind of experience you want. And they're there to help you along with that process. Another great way is to connect with loved ones, talk to family, friends, friends at other schools, right? People in your dorms, people in your classes, right? Share some of those ideas, share what you're thinking, talk through some of those ideas to see what makes the most sense for you. And then of course, talk to your academic advisors, figure out how is this going to work into your graduation plan? What are the courses you're hoping to get credit for? How are you going to incorporate it into your time here at UC Davis? And if you're interested, you can connect with us on social media. That's a great way to stay connected as well. If you do want to learn some more information, we do have an event that's coming up October 26th through the 29th. So it's a 4-day event. It's our Global Learning Showcase, and this is going to be an online opportunity. And so it's going to go over everything from global learning, identity, skills, and leadership. We're going to talk about global internships and research and community engagement. We're going to talk about study abroad, and then there's an entire day dedicated to UCEAP programs. So if you are interested, check out our website, globallearning.ucdavis.edu, and go to the events page, and that will take you to the Eventbrite site so that you can register, so you get the links to join all of those different options. So I think right now we'll go into some questions here. I did want to mention that our office is going to be having virtual drop-in advising hours, and those are going to be taking place Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. You can get more information on our website that is located down on the bottom of this slide here. And then once we are back in person, the Global Learning Hub office is located in the International Center. Once more of us are back on campus, that's going to be an option as well, to visit the International Center and then visit the Global Learning Hub office. All right, and then thank you to Karen for dropping a couple of links into the chat box. So there's the Basque Study Abroad page that you'll see as well, and then our Global Learning Showcase website there, so you guys can learn a little more as well as register for the event. But I think we'll turn it over to a couple of questions now.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to be helping to read some of these questions. So quite a few of you asked about the plan for next year as far as precautions because of COVID-19 and when study abroad will be a possibility again.
Yeah, that's a great question, and obviously on the front of all of our minds. So our office works very closely not only with the UC Davis administration, but also the UC Office of the President, and we're using a variety of resources to assess the safety as well as the feasibility of running our programs for next summer. At this point, we've gotten the go-ahead to plan for our Summer Abroad 2021 programs, but those will be continuously monitored based on the individual locations where these programs are going to be taking place. And so we're going to be looking at the things like the CDC, the Department of State, and we're going to be communicating with students throughout the entire process. One thing I do want to mention and keep in mind is that if we are unfortunately unable to continue with the program in a specific location or a particular program, and you are enrolled in the program, if our office cancels the program, you would be fully refunded the deposit and any fees that you've paid towards that if our office canceled it. So from a financial standpoint, we don't want you to have to worry about losing some of those funds. And again, just as a reminder, while Karen gets ready for the next question, if you do have questions, if you want to pop them into the Q&A box so that we can keep track of which ones we're answering, and then we'll make sure we get all of your questions answered. So the next question, Karen.
Okay, so I have some students who are wondering where they can find out if there are info sessions happening. So that's for UCEAP programs, if those have info sessions. And also, who would they contact if they're interested in a particular program?
Wonderful. Those are all great questions. So actually, I think I might take this opportunity to go ahead and navigate some different parts of our website to show you how to get a little bit more information as well. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing this screen really quickly, and then I'm going to navigate to our Global Learning Hub website. So hopefully most of you have seen this, and if not, we can explore it a little bit together. So those 4 main areas that we've discussed today, looking at community engagement, global skills and leadership development, internships and research, as well as study abroad, are available here on our landing page. A couple of folks asked specifically about info sessions that we have for maybe our summer abroad or UCEAP. So let's go ahead and let's click on study abroad. And so here you can see the different types of programs that I mentioned. And so we have our summer abroad programs, our summer abroad internships, we have summer virtual internships, as well as quarter abroad. And then finally, UCEAP and other programs, as well as our USA study programs. So those are domestic programs. So they're study away programs instead. So for UCEAP, if you go ahead and click on this link here, this is going to give you some more information about UCEAP, as well as some other opportunities that you have to go abroad. And that includes those independent programs that I've mentioned, local opportunities with a global focus here, as well as UC summer abroad programs. So for some of our summer abroad programs, we have students join from other UCs. You also have the option to go to another UC campus and take one of their summer abroad programs if there's one at UC Davis that doesn't match your interests exactly. So for UC EAP, as I mentioned, there's a huge number of programs. And so you can get in touch with our UCEAP advisors by going to our website, and down at the bottom of all these pages, you're going to see a contact us link. So that's the best way to set up an appointment with our advisors. You can also get in touch during some of our drop-in advising hours, and they can set up those virtual appointments for you. But there's some basic research on this webpage going over some of the basics about UCEAP as well. There's some frequently asked questions that are here too, so that you can learn a little more about UCEAP and sort of what to expect for those programs. But as I mentioned, there's a ton of programs. And so all of those programs are a little bit more specific. And so I would recommend getting in touch with an advisor there. For our normal summer abroad, summer internships abroad, quarter abroad, or virtual programs, we do have info sessions that are going to be available. So if we go to our summer abroad programs, you're going to see all of them listed either by country here, and you'll notice that there is a multi-country. We do have a couple of traveling programs. So if you do have ones that you're interested in, you can go ahead and select that program. So these program pages is where you're going to find all the information that you need about the program. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at Design in Europe, for example. So this particular program, you can see the overview, you can see what courses you're going to take, what counts for GEs, what the syllabus are, get to know your instructor, the on-site specifics of your accommodations, things that you're going to be doing, the other activities, cultural questions, money questions, what to expect while you're there, as well as our cost page, and then more information about travel, which goes into our visas necessary for certain passport holders, etc. But this announcements box is where you're going to be able to see if there's an info session that has already been scheduled for a specific program here. But if you don't see one, a really great thing to do is to create an interest profile. So this allows you to go in, and when you click on UC Davis students, you'll log in with your Kerberos, and then you're going to be able to select programs, and you'll be added to a mailing list in order to learn updates about when's our next info session, are there scholarship updates, what are the enrollment deadlines that are coming up. So that's the best way to get in touch. Also on all of those pages, they're going to list the program coordinator for that particular program. And so they're sort of your go-to person. If there's a program you already are interested in and want to learn more, maybe you want to schedule an advising appointment, you can reach out to that program coordinator directly. Under the on-campus tab up at the top, we do have our events calendar, so you can see the info sessions that have already been scheduled here. So you can see upcoming events that are related to professional development, post-graduation opportunities, research opportunities, career visioning, as you can see here. And so there's our Study Abroad Award workshops, LinkedIn for global professional branding, as well as a number of other different types of activities. So there's going to be everything from our showcase is going to be listed here, but if you're going a little bit further out, usually I think in about October, November is when you'll see most of the info sessions coming around for our summer and summer internship programs. All right, Kara, the next question.
Okay, I'm going to combine a couple of questions I've seen in the Q&A here. So students are wondering, how far in advance should they plan to study abroad? And then what year is typical for studying or interning abroad?
That is a great question. So there's really no right or wrong answer, and it's all depends on you and what your interests are. So as I mentioned, that Biz2B program, that's a great program for students to be able to take a course after their first year or after their second year, right? These are programs that you can take at any point in your career at UC Davis. We even often have students who will participate in the graduation ceremonies in spring of their senior year, but they will actually delay their formal graduation until they participate in one of the summer programs after they graduate. So there's not really a right or wrong answer in terms of what you want to study, but thinking about it, the earlier you start researching and finding the opportunities you're interested in, the more options you're going to have at your disposal. In terms of the timeline to think about, for UC Davis programs, the enrollment is usually taking place about 2 quarters in advance. So if you wanted to go abroad in the summer, enrollment opens in the winter. UC EAP, on the other hand, is a little bit more involved because you're enrolling at a host institution, an institution abroad, rather than going with the UC Davis faculty member. So for UC EAP, those enrollment and application deadlines are usually about 9 months to a year in advance. So it does take some pre-planning there.
Okay, so another question I'm seeing in the chat here is, what opportunities are available to students who maybe cannot travel internationally and are looking to do research or internship or some kind of opportunity through our office?
Yeah, wonderful. So as I mentioned and showed everyone before, there is a section on our study abroad page that is specifically for USA programs. What I would recommend is to use our search tool. So if you go to Discover Programs and you click Search All Programs, this is going to take you to our search tool. And so you can select the specific type of opportunity that you're interested in. So let's say you're interested in interning and maybe research, maybe some service learning here. Let's go ahead and let's pick a region. So we can pick North America and the US, and then let's do biological and health sciences. So as you can see, as you filter through those, you can go ahead and you can see the different types of opportunities that are available in that particular area as well. So that's what I would recommend as a starting place. Another thing, if you are interested in specifically study abroad, is if you go under Discover Programs, and then under Study Abroad here, if you go to Search by Major, you can go ahead and you can look up your individual major. So let's go ahead and let's do biological sciences. And if you click Go, it's going to list a number of UC Davis study abroad programs that are of interest for students, as well as some things you might want to consider for UC EAP. Again, there are more options. You can take things in your major. You don't have to take things in your major. You can take them for GEs or general interest, but make sure you do some research to figure out what is going to be best for you. I'll go ahead and show you briefly the UC EAP site here. So you can go ahead to the UC EAP site and you can search, again, you can search by programs in those same different filters. So region, country, disciplines. Do you want your courses taught in English, or are you fluent in another language where you want to take courses in another language? What term? What's your GPA, your class level? So there's a number of different ways that you can filter to figure out what programs might be best for you.
Okay, great. And I have some students asking about virtual internships. So more information about virtual internships and some questions about the difference in cost for those programs.
Yeah, that's a great question. So if you go under our virtual summer internships here, this is going to be listing all of our different virtual internships that we have available. And here, these are going to be the different tracks that are possible. You'll notice that some of them are very specific, and we also even have a multiple career field, so options that are available in a variety of different fields through one provider that we work with. So for each one, you're going to see some of them are location-based. So for example, this first one is business and communication in Japan, whereas other ones are going to be worldwide. So for some of these providers, you're going to be able to say, I want a program in design or fashion, and I want to select, maybe I want to see if there's any opportunities in countries in Asia. Maybe I'm looking for opportunities with companies in Europe, for example, right? Or in Latin America, in Africa. Right? So there's a lot of different options that are available for you. So here is our virtual comparative global health program. So let's go ahead and navigate some of this together. So you're going to see some of these details here. Again, the similar things in terms of the overview, the courses that you're going to be taking, the placements. So this is going to go into more details about what the placements are going to be like. What's the placement process? What are sample placements are available or have been available in the past, as well as the other requirements once you are enrolled in the program. So you can see that this one over here on that announcements tab, this one already has an info session that's been scheduled. And so you can click to register for that info session there. The cost page, so this is where you're going to find the information for all of our programs here. So this is what it's going to look like, and there's going to be there's going to be some different things to consider, right? So there's a virtual summer internships fee that you're going to have to pay. There is a course fee because all of our internships also are going to include not only units for the internship, but it also includes an online reflection course. What's going to be nice for some of these programs is the accommodations and services abroad fee. That's going to be significantly lower if you're not actually traveling for that specific internship. I'm going to go ahead and look at some of our summer internships so you can see on there. We do have some of our costs posted from last year if you're interested in getting a sense of what those costs might look like for the future. So if we go ahead and we look at, let's say this summer internship in Australia, if we go to the cost page, this isn't going to have any details for this year, but it should be available hopefully during fall quarter. But you can see 2020 cost information here as a reference. Again, these numbers might not be exactly the same. They might be a little more, they might be less than previous years, but this will at least give you a ballpark idea of what to expect here. So you can see the one that we were just looking at is Australia. And so you can see what that summer abroad internship fee, those course fees, so that's that per unit cost, the same fee that you would pay if you're going to be taking those courses on campus. And then that ASA, so this column here is what's going to vary program to program because it depends what's the cost of living, how long is the program, how many excursions do you have, are meals included, right? So that's what's going to be different from program to program. But again, things like the per unit cost is going to be the same, as well as the summer campus fee and that summer abroad internship fee. All right, Karen, I think we have time for a couple more questions.
Great. So thank you all for putting questions in the Q&A box. Just so you know, there are over 100 questions. So if we didn't get to your question, I really apologize. Please do reach out to us. Like Ashley mentioned, we'll be having drop-in hours that you can access on the website starting tomorrow. And you can always contact any of the program advisors on the actual pages if you have specific questions. So please do reach out if we weren't able to answer your question specifically. I'm seeing quite a few questions about prerequisites and general requirements for programs.
Great. So in terms of the prerequisites, the place that you're going to want to go is to look at the courses tab. And so that's going to go over all of the details if there are any prerequisites, and it will go ahead and list what those courses are, or if there's no particular requirements. The general eligibility requirements are going to be listed here on our enrollments tab. And so this is going to be pretty standard across the board for our programs. So for our summer abroad internships, you have to be 18 years old. You have to have completed 15 accredited college units by the time you go abroad. You have to have a GPA of 2.0 or higher, and you have to be in good disciplinary standing with your academic institution. And so it says academic institution because these are open to students from other campuses. So if you have friends at other UCs, you want to do these programs before, you can invite them to join you on some of these programs too. So that's where you're going to find the information about eligibility. There's information here about passport and health clearances, a cancellation policy, fees, payments, and financial aid, and then some general dates and deadlines to consider. So while Karen queues up the next one, there was a student who asked, what is the ASA, which is a great question. So the ASA, that stands for the Accommodations and Services Abroad fee. So that's what's going to vary program to program. The other fees are going to be pretty standard across the board there. But you can see through these cost page, they're going to give you what are the program fees that you're going to have to pay to our office, as well as the estimated personal expenses here, and then the estimated total cost. So you can see what that overall picture that we've estimated it will cost to participate in this program. All right, maybe one more question here, or two, okay, depending how fast I talk.
Sure. So some students are wondering if they can study abroad multiple times or multiple years, and if there's a limit to how many times they can study abroad or intern abroad.
Yeah, that's a great question. So basically, the more you plan, the more that you can go abroad. You know, we have students that come through our office that are transfer students that study abroad twice. So it definitely is possible. It's just a matter of how much planning you do and how much you can really fit it in. So there's not really a limit in that sense. There are some UC Davis senior residency requirements before graduation. If you do have questions about that, get in touch with your college or academic advisors to discuss that if you're worried about reaching a limit of courses that you have taken abroad. But there are tons of opportunities, so I encourage you to start looking early to try to fit in as many as you can.
Okay, one more question?
Yep.
Okay. So some students are wondering, how can they find out more about EAP programs if they're planning on doing EAP?
Yeah, if you're interested in EAP, the best thing is to contact our office and set up an appointment with the UC EAP peer advisors. We also have staff advisors that work with students as well. But searching on that website is a great place to start that I showed. So that's a really good way to start with UC EAP.
Okay, and there's quite a few questions about where this recording will be located once we're done with the webinar.
I will find out from orientation and get back to you, but I do know that we are sharing it with orientation and we will likely make it available on our, we're planning to put together sort of a video library on YouTube as well. And so hopefully we can add it there, but I do know that we do share it with the orientation team as well. So we share this recording too.
Okay, great.
All right, but again, thank you all so much for joining us. Make sure you check out our website. That'll give you some great places to start. That contact us link down that's available down at the bottom of every one of our pages. That's how you know that you can get in contact with us. And then we do have those virtual drop-in advising hours Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. So you can get in touch. And if you need to schedule an appointment with a UC EAP advisor, with financial aid, with a specific program coordinator, they are able to set up those appointments for you. All right, thanks again for joining us.